Now, the top 10 corners, man, you know what we're going to do? I'm going to rapid fire through 10 through 6. Then we'll get into the top 5 and give a better explanation on what those top 5 guys are. First one up is going to be Kamari Lassiter. Man, guy came into the league and went absolutely haywire, right? Put up some amazing numbers last year, and with Jalen Petrie going down, they absolutely needed somebody to step up, even though he does play a corner. He stepped up to the plate, and to be honest, if they're not a top 5 DB group in the NFL, I don't know what is. There's actually his actual running mate is actually on this list as well, and that's pretty big shoes to fill. Which was, we'll get into spoilers alert here a little later, but yeah, Kamari Lassiter, can't say enough about the guy. We knew that he would probably be a special talent, and he lived up to it, especially being in that whole defense. Denzel Ward, another staple of the NFL that I feel like just doesn't get enough credit year to year. Super physical, probably has top 5 coverage skills in the NFL, and you haven't seen him play. I mean, playing in the AFC North is not the easiest task when you got to play against the Lamar Jacksons of the world. He played George Pickens twice a year, and so on and so forth. But Denzel Ward is definitely deserving to be in the top 10. He's been playing at a high level for a very, very long time, and a guy that's from Columbus, right? Played at Ohio State, playing at his hometown team, and doing big things in the city. I'm sorry, in Cleveland, not Columbus. And he's from Cleveland. So, but yeah, played in Columbus with Ohio State, but still Ohio guy through and through. So it's nice to see him at the top of the list. Jalen Johnson, what can we say about this guy other than you guys have had a slip in where you were supposed to be versus where you are right now? And I think he's definitely, with how that team has formed around him, I wouldn't be surprised if we see Jalen Johnson crack the top 5 next year, if not the top 3, with all the support that he's going to get, right? And it's a lot easier to shine when you do have the pieces on your team, but one of the best all-around corners in the league that, again, just like I feel like with Denzel Ward, people tend to forget them for how bad that their teams have been. So just another guy right there at number 8. Number 7, we don't have freshman campaigns or rookie campaigns that crack our top 10 very often. Man, I can't tell you, if you guys know, Slider certified right here, baby. I should have worn a Cooper DeJean jersey today. Cooper DeJean, y'all know how high I was on him the whole draft process, his 2 years in college, being opposite side of somebody like, people tend to forget how good Riley Moss was last year until his injury, who was, people want to say the white corner. We can't forget about my man Riley Moss that was there before Cooper, and they played on the same team in college at Iowa. But look, doing what he did in the Super Bowl, doing what he did all season. I want to say honorable mention is definitely Quinyon Mitchell, right? But just like we were trying to tell people all season long, this dude he's not going to be a safety. You guys are going to see why he's a corner for the rest of his career. Definitely deserves to be at number 7, man. I was surprised that a lot of us had him on the list, right? Christian Gonzalez could have been way higher on this list in any other year. Y'all want to know about guys that I was wrong about? He's been slapping you in the face for damn near 3 seasons at this point. Christian Gonzalez has been everything for the New England Patriots. He's a shutdown corner. He's fast as hell. Obviously, he's a track star just like his sister. And came in the league and took the league by storm and told me to pretty much shut up and that I don't know anything about corners. And I say, yes, sir. I will sit here and reevaluate the process. He's a top 5 corner on a lot of people's lists, if not top 3. And I would definitely understand why you would have him higher. But we can't continue without getting into the top 5 and giving you a little bit of gravy on these guys, right? So let's get into our number 5, which is none other than the guy that's been great since college. Another guy that I was wrong about as well. It's not looking too good for corners is the hardest position to evaluate for me. But Sauce Gardner he's fantastic. if you take aside what the Jets do on offense, definitely their defense is definitely the bright spot. You know, he allowed a 53.2 completion rate on 47 targets in coverage. Absolutely incredible. 6.4% interception per target rate was a career high this year for him. He's always highly ranked in PFF. He had 1 sack and 1 forced fumble in 2024 as a corner. And the only thing about this is his tackling could get a little better. He is a smaller guy. But despite all the criticisms that everybody has for him, he's still one of those elite guys and definitely could be higher on a lot of people's lists, but he's right there at number 5 for us.
For sure. Yeah. I mean, Sauce Gardner, as soon as he came into the league, he lit the league on fire. I mean, we were talking about him as being one of the better corners in the league. The moment he stepped onto the turf in New York, I mean, it's not often that a cornerback does that when you come to the NFL. It takes a couple of years. Like Derek Stingley, for example, he wasn't perfect his first couple of years. He had injury concerns and he just wasn't that guy yet. But Sauce Gardner just stepped on the field and right away he was just the player that we know today. And like you said, he's all over the football. A lot, he had 7 PBUs, 79.3 passer rating allowed. I mean, and one thing you're going to notice with all these cornerbacks, talking about some of the best cornerbacks in the game, I mean, all of them do very good in tackling, and tackling, not just coverage. And it's very important on defense. You really want good tackling corners. It makes a huge difference in a good defense and a bad defense. Those secondary guys can tackle. I mean, typically you don't want those secondary guys, making too many tackles because you want to stop the ball carrier right at the line. But these secondary guys are the last line of defense, and if they could tackle well, they could be the big difference in a big play, a small play, and in a touchdown. So you're going to notice with a lot of these top corners that they don't have a lot of missed tackles. They have a lot of solo tackles, a lot just and a lot of times it's just kind of them out there in space. They have to make that tackle, and it's very important for them to make that tackle. So Sauce Gardner, like you said, kind of like struggled with the tackles a little bit, 10 missed tackles, but I'm sure he'll clean that up. And he's a little bit of a smaller guy, like you said. But yeah, Sauce Gardner, he's a monster from the moment he stepped onto the field. It's not often that happens,
Yeah.
Sometimes it takes a couple of years, but it just wasn't the case for him.
No, it wasn't, man. He took the league by storm, and I had a lot of question marks on how good that he was going to be in the NFL. And I mean, coming and playing over to the Jets has not been a easy task for a guy like him. And I think every single year we've had him in our top 5 so far since I've been doing this and since he's been in the NFL. So he's a talent, man. He's a superstar as well, just the way he carries himself. He really does appeal to all the young guys out there that are, trying to do their thing right now, at any level of the game. So he definitely has that star appeal to him. So yeah, Sauce Gardner, any man that's got his own sauce at Buffalo Wild Wings is okay in my book. Even though that sauce is ass though. I gotta be real. Hey man, if y'all ever had the sauce from that's his sauce at Buffalo Wild Wings. I don't know, man. You've been hitting on everything in your career.
Place, man.
Yeah, You've been hitting on everything in your career, but that damn sauce, that shit is gross. That shit is gross. All right, number 4, man. And all jokes aside, let's get into Marlon Humphrey, dude. What's crazy about Marlon Humphrey? He slimmed down to 190 pounds. He said that he wanted to, get some of that grown man weight off of him and have a more agile physique. And he was flying around all around the field. He had recorded 6 interceptions, including a pick 6, 15 pass breakups, 67 tackles, 4 quarterback hits, 2 forced fumbles, and half a sack. If you guys care about PFF, he had an 81 PFF coverage grade, which is the second best of his career according to them. His lockdown percentage, 64%. Demonstrates his ability to stick with the receivers and prevent them from getting open. And that's one thing that we have considered for corners is, especially for him, is how physical that he can be. He plays a little different than a lot of other corners, so it's nice to have some variety on this list. he had a very, very strong comeback after, being injured in 2023. But the way that he disrupts receivers, he's like that annoying ass fly that's around you outside, like that. You're just like, man, just leave me alone. And then congratulations to him for getting married last year as well. I know that's not a quarterback statistic, but I do think those type of things help you mature. He contributed to the pass rush, which is incredible from his aspect. You don't see corners that contribute to the pass rush a lot anymore in their career. But I do want to say that, it's good to see Marlon Humphrey back in the top 5 after taking I want to say the last couple of years, he's taken a dip even outside of some people's top 10s. I know, including ours, he has. And again, you look at that whole defense with Kyle Hamilton, 𝗕𝙂𝘀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗏, Roquan Smith, and all those guys out there now getting what's his name from Clemson last year that they drafted? Oh my God, Nate Wiggins. It's almost like he's not passing the torch just yet. He wants to be a compliment to what Higgins can be, and now they're going to get Jair Alexander too, which is going to be able to be a rotational piece for them. The rich just keep on getting richer with the Ravens, man, and I'm glad to see that not only that he slimmed down and understood that he wanted to be a little faster after coming off of that injury last year, but he's a top 5 corner, which to me, you're one step away. I think when you're in the top 3, you're elite. He's one step away from being elite yet again in his career.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, like you said, I love a corner that likes to disrupt the receiver. He lets you know he's there. He's not, he's not scared to hit you. He's not scared to be on you the whole route. He's going to make you feel him the whole game, and he's going to hit you hard. He's going to always be at that ball. And, like you mentioned, not only does he disrupt, in the passing game, he's a good tackler. Once again, you're going to see all these guys are good tacklers. And 61.2 pass rating allowed, and like you said, 6 interceptions, 10 pass breakups, 9 total pressures for a cornerback. I mean, he does so many things well. And another thing I want to bring up is he's been good for so damn long. I mean, you know how hard it is to be good at cornerback as long as he has, and how consistent he has been year in and year out. Yeah. So hard to do that, man. I mean, it's one thing to be regarded as a top 5, top 10 cornerback for, a couple years, but when you're doing it for as long as he has, I mean, it shows how dedicated he is, how much he loves it, because keeps fighting, he keeps working just as hard, and if not harder. And I mean, Marlon Humphrey, he's kind of aging like fine wine. He just, he just getting better and better. And like you said, he's like right out of that elite territory, but for how good he's been for so long, it's impressive, man. And it's nice. He's got all that help around him, but he'd still, be able to hold his own. He has in that secondary. So yeah, Marlon Humphrey, he's a monster. Love Marlon Humphrey. And people maybe aren't talking about him as much anymore, but you know what, I kind of,
because he's not the sexiest corner, man. Like, he just plays so different. People are used to a guy that's getting 4 or 5 interceptions a year, and that's not the way that he plays. He's annoying.
Yeah, exactly.
It's the best way to put it. He's gonna tackle you. He's gonna cause fumbles. He's gonna rush the quarterback. He's gonna play in run defense. Like, just because it's different doesn't mean that it's bad, right? People are just not used to it. And like I was saying in the comments, I think this is arguably one of his best seasons that he's had in the league, if not the best so far. And coming off an injury, which is very, very impressive. So shout out to Marlon Humphrey, man. He's absolute demon. And if nobody's going to acknowledge you, sir, I'll acknowledge you for sure.
Yes, sir.
Number 3. See, this one means a lot more to me. For the simple fact, when I first started this YouTube stuff, well, I guess this channel, one of the guys I was harping for ever since college, and if you know our story, Trent McDuffie's a big part of this. I remember when people say, oh, he's just a slot corner, he's just all this, and just totally getting wrong because they don't watch college football. Check it out. Hasn't he been like a 2-time All-Pro at this point? Been in, 3 Super Bowls? Like, him and George Karlaftis, I thought, were the 2 most disrespected players in that draft, and I was absolutely correct about both of them. Even though, George didn't make our top 10, he's still got a ways to go there. He's still good, but Trent McDuffie's on another level. He even surprised the hell out of me. Last year, 59 total tackles. He's not afraid to tackle the best of the best. 13 passes defended, 2 interceptions, 1 forced fumble. He ranked second amongst all NFL defenders when it came to coverage grade, according to PFF. He was the only cornerback to earn a 75 plus grade in all 3 areas from PFF. That's crazy. He only allowed 47.5 completion rate and forcing 9 incompletions. When we talk about one of the up and coming, like the shutdown corner title has gone away a little bit, it seems like. I think Jair was probably like the last one, right? And then he fell off. I think Trent McDuffie's kind of taken the mantle for being what's considered a shutdown corner. Had a less than ideal Super Bowl. We understand that everybody was getting their ass kicked by the Eagles that year, right? But what I'll say is this, is that if those other 2 guys that are at 1 and 2 fall off, we're arguably looking at the best cornerback in the league, right? And the 2023, 2024, 2023 campaign showed you that he's here to stay for sure.
Yeah, for real. And I mean, you know what I like to say, iron sharpens iron. When you get to practice with Patrick Mahomes every day, I mean, it definitely makes you even better, going up against Mahomes, and then, it just gets you ready for the rest of the league. And like you said, kind of, a dying breed in the shutdown corners. Good to see him kind of like keeping that going, because after Jair, I mean, who is it going to be? But Trent McDuffie stepping in. I mean,
yeah,
he doesn't miss tackles, like you were saying. Had a lot of solo tackles. Like, look at all these solo tackles for cornerbacks. I really don't think people realize how important, and how much cornerbacks get in there, and how important it is for them to tackle at a high level. All those PBUs, all those interceptions. I mean, he's all over the field, and it definitely helps playing with Patrick Mahomes. And, he's going to need it practicing with him, because you're going to play against Herbert. You're going to play against Bo Nix twice a year. I mean, he's playing against those guys. He's still playing really high level football. And, the AFC is tough in general. Did a really good job in the playoffs. And, you have the Bills, you have all those, crazy offenses in the playoffs. And he's done a pretty damn good job over the last couple of years with it. I mean,
yeah,
you can't ask too much more from a cornerback from what Trent McDuffie has given you.
Yeah, he's giving you everything that you needed as far as that defensive unit is concerned, because we already know what the front seven's like, but one dude that's been consistently shutting shit down is Trent McDuffie, and he plays a lot bigger than his size too. So telling you, the next jersey that I'm getting, I gotta represent my boy Trent McDuffie. It's well long overdue at this point. I should have done had it. I feel bad even saying that. I should have done had his jersey, man. Let's get to number 2, man. Now, I want to go ahead and just put it out there for everybody, right? One of those players that comes out of nowhere for a lot of people, because they forget that of how good that he actually is a guy that's named Derek Stingley Jr., right? Let's go ahead and get into that. I know you had him personally as your number 1 corner, so I'll let you go first before I get into my rant on Derek Stingley Jr.
Yes, sir, man. I mean, Derek Stingley, 47 solo tackles, 7 missed tackles. Once again, those tackle numbers high, very low missed tackles, 5 interceptions, 47 passer rating allowed. That's just, in today's NFL, that's absurd. That's wild. I mean, that's just like really insane disruption, not allowing anything to happen, just being at the catch point. 10.4 yards per reception, 10 pass breakups. I mean, you could go down the list. He's got tons of stats you go through, but just the way that he plays, flies around that field. He's a ball hawk. He goes after that ball, and he does a damn good job, dude. A damn good job. And he did pretty good in the playoffs versus Mahomes and the receivers he had to cover. I mean, the AFC is not an easy place to play cornerback, and he's done a damn good job. So Derek Stingley, and it took a couple of years for Stingley to kind of, come into form, to come into how he's looking now.
He's always injured, man.
Yeah, the injuries definitely did not help him, but once he had that chance to finally, show who he is and finally just come out of his shell, I mean, and yeah, he was injured, but I mean, the moment he took off, he never landed. I mean, just an impressive cornerback in my eyes.
There was, I guess when you look at it, if I was wrong about Sauce Gardner and Christian Gonzalez, the two top guys I wasn't wrong about. And it's kind of funny because I said both of those guys would be generational. So I'm looking at, first of all, Derek St. Jr., I'm sure everybody knows who number one is, but I said these two young men were going to be generational, along with Kyle Hamilton. And Kyle Hamilton made across our board the number one safety. Let's put it like this, man. 18 pass breakups. Disruptive. He allowed the lowest completion percentage, 46.7, and a passer rating of 56.9 among cornerbacks with at least 400 snaps. This is his first year that he's been fully healthy, playing a full 17-game season. He allowed a league best 39.6 passer rating when targeted, demonstrating his effectiveness in limited passing yards. My goodness, brother. I think he's going to be an absolute demon for a long time. And again, you look up and down their defensive back unit. Kamari Lassiter, we just talked about him, his teammate. We had two rookies make this list. Corners are just getting better and better and better. All these guys are fairly young. What is the oldest guy on this list? It's probably between Denzel Ward and Marlon Humphrey, I believe. Everybody else is like 3 or 4 years at the most in the league. Yeah, man. And they just keep getting younger and better. And I hope that he has a clean bill of health the rest of his career, because we watched some of the best football last year from a defender that we've ever seen. So shout out to Derek Stingley Jr., man. And this one, the next guy coming up, you know who he is. I've talked about him at nauseum. I think he's the next Charles Woodson. Patrick Surtain. We understand that his dad played in the league, right? But and Patrick Surtain was no joke when he played for the Dolphins back in the day. I was a little boy growing up. Everybody talked about Patrick Surtain and oh my God, Torque or Sword. You have to remind me who was on the opposite side of him. I can hear his voice because he had a high pitched voice. It was Patrick Surtain and oh my God, I don't have to look it up. Patrick Surtain Senior and Dolphins. Let's see. Oh my. Sam Madison.
Sam Madison. There we go.
There we go. Oh my God, bro. That deal back in the day was absolutely outrageous. Him and Riley Moss, I want to see more. Now you get Jahdae Barron, I want to see more. Now you get Talanoa Hufanga, I want to see more. Right?
Yeah.
I don't even think he's one of those guys that looks good with not the best players around him sometimes. I think later on in his career, he's going to move to safety and be just as good. I think his path is Charles Woodson 2.0. I really do. I feel that highly about him. He can hit you. He's physical. He plays coverage really, really well. Can force a fumble in the second. Interception rate per target, 7.7%, the second best mark in the NFL. He was targeted 52 times throughout the season. That means that quarterbacks avoid throwing his way completely. To only be targeted for 52 times. That's insane. 90.2, the third best mark in the NFL for zone coverage grade according to PFF. Passer rating allowed in zone coverage, 46.6, the lowest amongst quarterbacks with at least 20 targets in zone as the nearest defender. Let me get through his awards because we're talking about the Defensive Player of the Year, the Pro Football Writers of America Defensive Player of the Year, the 101 Awards AFC Defensive Player of the Year, First Team All-Pro, Pro Bowler, First Team NFLPA Players All-Pro, PFWA, All NFL and All AFC Selection, Sporting News All NFL Selection, and probably the most important one, being a Bronco, is the Demaryius Thomas Team MVP Award winner. He's going to continue to get better and better and better. He doesn't talk trash. he is a quiet assassin for the most part, but plays like his size, very big and physical, man. I can't wait to just see what the Broncos do this year, and it's like their team is just getting better and better and better. What did you think about the Defensive Player of the Year?
I mean, what else is there to say? You know, like you were saying, he's all over the field making an impact, whether it's in the passing game. He had, according to PFF, he had 0 missed tackles. That's gorgeous. That's wonderful. You can't ask for anything better from that. You know, and like you said, just knocking the ball out, intercepting the ball. And I mean, he's challenged. Don't forget he's challenging the AFC. Look, who's got to play twice a year. He's got to play Mahomes twice a year. He's got to play Herbert twice a year. He gets to practice with Bo Nix. You know, trying to help Bo Nix a little bit there, be a little sneaky on him in practice. He's making Bo Nix better too.
Yep.
Pat Surtain, man, and having such a good, coaching staff there makes it even better. And, the talent that they're accruing on that defensive side, I mean, he's only going to get better. He's only, 25? Like we were saying, all these guys are so young.
Yeah.
And all these guys are in the AFC too. These top 5 guys, all of them are in the AFC. So NFC better catch up. The NFC better get something figured out over there. But, yeah, I mean, Pat Surtain, he's just one of the better ones out there. Him and Stingley, I could see being 1A, 1B. And, one thing I like to bring up about these corners, sometimes cornerbacks aren't talked about enough. But I usually say, hey,
I agree.
If corners, nowadays, if corners aren't being talked about, you're probably doing your job. If you're being talked about, then, it's just kind of how the media is. It's just kind of how it is. If cornerbacks have one bad play, oh no, they're horrible. They're crap. But,
they're
it's just
not
kind
good.
of how it's been. Yeah, I mean, it's the hardest position to play. It's one of the hardest positions, if not the hardest. I mean, if you're not hearing their name, if you're not hearing people complain about them, then odds are they're doing pretty good. But unless you're like these couple guys at the top where you're just absolutely insane, you will hear about them. You know what I mean? So Pat Surtain is one of those guys. He's going to be good for such a long time with Derek. Him and Derek Stingley are going to, and Trent McDuffie are going to fight for those, for that top, for those top 3 spots every single year, probably. So, yeah, that's all I kind of got for Pat Surtain.
Yeah. Fun fact: Bo Nix and Pat Surtain did play each other back in the Iron Bowl in 2019 and 2020. So they played each other twice. A little fun fact: I forgot about that. And I believe that was the game. Yeah, that was the game in 2019 where Bo Nix beat Alabama when everybody said Bo Nix is not that good. He beat Alabama in primetime at the Iron Bowl against their most hated rival. Yeah. Put some respect on my boy's name. He didn't make our top 10, but he's damn near close to making it if he balls out again this year.